Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we are going to continue our series of spectrum revision. Now ये सीरीज़ जो है हमारी, यहाँ पे हम स्पेक्ट्रम के MCQs को कवर करेंगे जो कि 700 प्लस MCQs हमने यहाँ पे प्रिपेयर किए हैं. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट विद आवर वीडियो. बट बिफोर स्टार्टिंग, अगर क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 से क्वेश्चन नंबर 170 तक आपने नहीं देखा है, आप पहले की वीडियोस देख सकते हैं प्लेलिस्ट सेक्शन में जाके. And if you want the PDF of this lecture, you can see the pinned comment section. So start करते हैं with हमारा question number 171. Who is regarded as the father of the Indian Renaissance? So obviously this is an easy question. राजा राम मोहन रॉय यहाँ पे करेक्ट आंसर है. इसके अलावा इनके रिगार्डिंग क्या इंपॉर्टेंट है, दैट ही इस्टेब्लिश्ड आत्मीय सभा. आत्मीय सभा इन्होंने इस्टेब्लिश की थी इन द ईयर 1813. इसके अलावा ब्रह्मो समाज वॉज इस्टेब्लिश्ड इन द ईयर 1828. ऑल्सो जो तीसरा पॉइंट आपको रिमेंबर रखना है रिगार्डिंग राजा राम मोहन रॉय, वॉज ड्यू टू हिज एफर्ट्स सती वॉज प्रोहिबिटेड अंडर द टेन्योरशिप ऑफ लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिक. ठीक है, 1829 में सती वॉज एबॉलिश्ड. इसके अलावा ही इज़ वेरी वेल नोन फॉर राइटिंग द प्रीसेप्ट्स ऑफ जीसस, अ गिफ्ट टू मोनोथीस्ट. सो ये दोनों बुक्स भी राजा राम मोहन रॉय ने लिखी, आपको पता होना चाहिए. ठीक है. नाउ ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर इज़ वेरी मच नोन फॉर वुमेन्स एजुकेशन. ठीक है, इनके बारे में भी हम आगे क्वेश्चंस में डील करेंगे. एंड ज्योतिबा फुले इज़ वेरी मच फेमस टू रन द सोशल रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट इन द महाराष्ट्र रीजन. ठीक है, एंड ही हैज़ ऑल्सो रिटन द फेमस बुक गुलामगिरी. गुलामगिरी इज़ अ वेरी फेमस जर्नल दैट इज़ रिटन बाय ज्योतिबा फुले. ये सारे फैक्ट्स मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, स्पेक्ट्रम के ही फैक्ट्स हैं एंड ये बहुत हेल्प करेंगे आपको. Next is which organization did Raja Ram Mohan Roy found in the year 1828? So it was the ब्रह्मो समाज. ठीक है, it was पहले इसका नाम ब्रह्मो समाज सभा था, बट लेटर इट वॉज नेम्ड एज ब्रह्मो समाज. अपोज किया था आइडल्ट्री को, रिचुअल्स को एंड मोनोथीस्टिक प्रिंसिपल्स दैट इज बिलीव इन वन गॉड. इट वॉज प्रोपगेटेड बाय ब्रह्मो सभा. विच पब्लिकेशन बाय राजा राम मोहन रॉय एडवोकेटेड मोनोथीज्म? So this was gift to monotheist. अभी मैंने बताया this was a book that was written by him. So a gift to monotheist. ये यहाँ पे it advocated the monotheism. Precepts of Jesus भी it was written by Raja Ram Mohan Roy only. Gulamgiri I've already told you. So let us see the next question. Which 1829 British regulation was the result of Roy's effort? So I told you. He is very much known for abolition of sati. So in the year 1829, under the Governor General Lord William Bentinck, the sati was abolished. ठीक है. Next is who led the Tattva Bodhini Sabha and joined the Brahmo Samaj in 1842? So Tattva Bodhini Sabha, it was founded by Devendranath Tagore. ठीक है. He expanded Raja Ram Mohan's legacy and encouraged the rational religious study. Next is who formed the Brahmo Samaj of India after being dismissed in the year 1865, and this is an important question. So this was founded by Keshav Chandra Sen. ठीक है, Keshav Chandra Sen was against the Brahmo Samaj, so that is why, because his view was very much different to that of the Brahmo Samaj, he established a different organization named Brahmo Samaj of India. Next is who established the Sadharan Brahmo Samaj in 1878? It was Anand Mohan Bose. ठीक है, along with Shiva Chandra Dev and Umesh Chandra Datta, he broke from the Keshav Chandra Sen groups. अभी हमने देखा था ना, केशव चंद्र सेन ने ब्रह्मो समाज ऑफ इंडिया फाउंड किया था. सो इनसे सेपरेट होके आनंद मोहन बोस ने ही फाउंडेड द साधारण ब्रह्मो समाज इन 1878. Now, who founded the Prarthana Samaj in Bombay in 1867? So it was founded by Atmaram Pandurang. ठीक है, एक बात और ध्यान रखना यहाँ पे, केशव चंद्र सेन ही हेल्प्ड पांडुरंग टू लॉन्च हिज भक्ति इंस्पायर्ड रिफॉर्म ग्रुप. ओके, सो आत्माराम पांडुरंग वॉज हेल्प्ड बाय केशव सेन एंड दे बोथ फाउंडेड द प्रार्थना समाज. नेक्स्ट है हमारा विच रिफॉर्मिस्ट वॉज एसोसिएटेड विथ विडो रिमैरेज एंड फीमेल एजुकेशन इन महाराष्ट्र? सो इट वॉज MC Ranade. ठीक है, और Ranade actively promoted social reforms through प्रार्थना समाज. Earlier he was also a member of प्रार्थना समाज. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज Who led the Young Bengal movement in the 1820s? So it was led by Henry Vivian Thoreau. Now this was a very much a radical movement, and इसका एक demerit ये था because it was way ahead of its time. Now the people were not ready to accept the changes that the Young Bengal movement proposed. ठीक है, so he was very radical in his teaching. Vivian Thoreau also teached at the Hindu college and influenced the early reformist generation. Now, which reformer helped legalize widow remarriage in India? Now, as I told you, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar led to the Widow Remarriage Act of 1856. All of these points are very much important. Questions यहाँ से आते हैं. Next is, which paper was started by Bal Shastri Jambekar in 1832? It was Darpan. Thoreau Digest, it was started by Henry Vivian Thoreau. Tatva Bodhini Patrika, we have already seen. देवेंद्रनाथ टैगोर. दिग्दर्शन आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताओगे, ठीक है, कि दिग्दर्शन was written by whom? दर्पण was written by बाल शास्त्री जाम्बेकर, ठीक है. He laid the foundation of the reformist journalism in Marathi. Next, which reform society in Maharashtra worked as a secret group in 1849? It was परमहंस मंडली. Now परमहंस मंडली की इन्होंने फाउंड की थी. सबसे पहले तो 2 पॉइंट आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि इट वॉज फाउंडेड इन महाराष्ट्र. सेकेंड है, इट वॉज अ रिफॉर्म ग्रुप एंड इट वर्कड एज अ सीक्रेट ग्रुप. It was founded by दादोबा पांडुरंग and others to challenge the religious orthodoxy. ठीक है. Next है, who founded the Satya Shodhak Samaj in 1873? It was established by Jyotirao Phule, who also wrote the book Gulamgiri. Phule's movement aimed to uplift the lower caste and women through education. ठीक है. Which work by Jyotiba Phule critiques the caste domination? It is the same book Gulamgiri, जिसके बारे में आपको मैंने बताया था. Gulamgiri, it compared the caste oppression to the slavery. Next is, which newspaper was launched in 1840 by Jambekar for the scientific articles? It was दिग्दर्शन. ठीक है. ध्यान रखना, डी से जो दर्पण है, it was started by Bal Shastri Jambekar, and this which was launched by in 1845 by Jambekar, Bal Shastri Jambekar. So he was the same person who launched the Digdarshan. So Digdarshan and Darpan, both of them are related to Bal Shastri Jambekar. Next is, who founded the Bombay Native General Library and the Student Literary Association, Student Literary Society? It was बाल शास्त्री जाम्बेकर. ठीक है. सो 3 पॉइंट्स बाल शास्त्री जाम्बेकर जी से बहुत जो रेलिवेंट हैं वो मैंने आपको बता दिए हैं. ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बॉम्बे नेटिव जनरल लाइब्रेरी, इट वॉज फाउंडेड बाय हिम ओनली. Now, who was the first professor of Hindi at the Elphinstone College? It was Bal Shastri Jambekar. ठीक है. Next is, which reformer used Raja Bali as the symbol of social justice against Brahmanical dominance? It is Jyotiba Phule. Next is, who described the Derosians as the pioneers of modern Bengal? It was Surendranath Banerjee. ठीक है. Now Surendranath Banerjee is related to the formation of Indian Association or the Indian National Association. Who wrote the pen name Lokhitwadi? It was Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Lokhitwadi in his reformist writing for Prabhakar Weekly. So Lokhitwadi was the pen name of Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Who stated, if religion does not sanction social reform, then change the religion? It was given by Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Next is, who founded the periodic Sudharak? It was Gopal Ganesh Agarkar. Now Sudharak was used to promote ideas against untouchability and blind traditions. Next, who established the Servants of India Society in 1905? So it was established by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. He wanted to train the national missionaries to serve India. That is why he established this association. Next, which newspaper was used by the Servants of India Society to spread its views? It was Hitavada. Now Hitavada जो है, that is also written by Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So ये भी ध्यान में रखना. And in the year 1911, it was used to communicate reformist and nationalist ideas. Who founded the Social Services League and All Indian Trade Union Congress? It was N.M. Joshi. अब जो ऑल इंडिया ट्रेड यूनियन कांग्रेस है ना, It was established in the year 1920. ठीक है. President of was Lala Lajpat Rai and General Secretary was Diwan Chaman Lal. N.M. Joshi also had a very important role in this. So Social Services League was established by N.M. Joshi. एंड ऑल्सो ये ध्यान रखना, एन एम लोखंडे की मैं बात अगर करूँ तो ही इज़ नोन एज द पायोनियर फॉर द लेबर रिफॉर्म्स. ही इज़ नोन फॉर द पायोनियर ऑफ द लेबर रिफॉर्म्स इन इंडिया. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज वेयर इज़ द हेडक्वार्टर ऑफ रामकृष्ण मिशन लोकेटेड. सो इट इज़ नियर बेलूर नियर कैलकाटा. द बेलूर मठ सर्व्स एज a spiritual and organizational center. Which global event featured Swami Vivekananda's impactful speech in 1893? So it was in the Parliament of Religions, which was held in Chicago, in which he introduced the Indian spirituality to the world. Who gave the slogan "Go back to the Vedas"? It was given by Dayanand Saraswati. ठीक है. It was given by Dayanand Saraswati. He was founder of the Arya Samaj. And he also propagated and he also started the DAV college. Okay. Next is who established the Gurukul at Haridwar in 1902? It was Swami Shraddhanand. To provide the Vedic education in traditional style, it was established in Haridwar. Who founded the Seva Sadan with Dayaram Gindumal? So Seva Sadan was established by Behramji Malabari. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं शिव नारायण अग्निहोत्री पे. नाउ इफ यू वांट टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन यू कैन सॉल्व इट बाय पॉजिंग द वीडियो. नाउ अगर इसकी बात करूं मैं, द क्वेश्चन इज शिव नारायण अग्निहोत्री कंपाइल्ड टीचिंग्स ऑफ देव समाज इनटू विच बुक. सो इट वाज इनटू देव शास्त्र. ये क्वेश्चन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, याद रखना. ठीक है. सेवा सदन वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय बेहराम जी मालाबारी. And he is also related to the Age of Consent Act of 1891. Okay. Next is who founded the Orthodox Dharma Sabha in 1830. So Dharma Sabha was founded by Radhakant Dev. It opposed the Brahmo Samaj and it supported the traditional practices. Next is Bharat Dharma Mahamandal was formed in 1902 with the headquarters at Varanasi. Bharat Dharma Mahamandal formed in 1902 with headquarters at Varanasi. Now it unified several orthodox Hindu organizations. So ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. Next है हमारा the Radha Swami movement was founded by Tulsiram और Shiv Dayal Sahab. Now they believed in supremacy of one God and Guru supremacy. Now the SNDP movement was initiated among which caste in Kerala? So these were the Aiswas. Now Narayan Guru who led this movement was a Aiswas. Aiswas were the untouchables who were there in the Kerala region. Next is who founded the Vokaliga Sangha anti-Brahmin movement in Mysore. So Vokaliga Satyagraha was led by the Vokaliga leaders in the year 1905 against the caste hierarchies. Now the Justice movement in Madras Presidency was launched by C.N. Mudaliar, T.M. Nair and P. Tyagaraja. This Justice movement, इनके leaders के नाम आपको पता होने चाहिए. ये important question है. Now, who initiated the self-respect movement? Self-respect movement was initiated in 1920 by E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. It aimed at eradicating caste oppression and promoting rationalism. Who led the 1924 Vaikom Satyagraha in Kerala for temple entry? It was K.P. Keshwa. ठीक है, important है ये. Next, Titu Mir was associated with which Islamic movement? It was Wahhabi movement. ठीक है. He was the disciple of Sayyid Ahmad Barelvi and he advocated the Wahhabi ideas. Who founded the Faryazi movement in Bengal? It was Titu Mir. ठीक है. Next is which Islamic sect believe Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is Messiah? It was the Ahmadiyya sect and he was also the founder of Ahmadiyya movement. He was also the founder of Ahmadiyya movement. Who founded the Aligarh movement for Muslim modern education? It was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. He established the college in 1875, which was later renamed as Aligarh Muslim University. Which magazine spread Syed Ahmad Khan ideas as reformist ideas? It was Tehdeeb ul Akhlaq. It focused on ethical and social reform among Indian Muslims. Next is where was the Deoband school 1866 situated? So Deoband school है, this was in Saharanpur. Next is which newspaper was associated with Parsi religious reforms? It was Rast Gofar. It published progressive ideas and promoted the Zoroastrianism, purity and reform. The Singh Sabha movement began in which year? It began in the year 1873 in Amritsar to modernize the Sikh education and counter missionary influence. The Sikh Gurdwaras Act was passed in which year? It was passed in the year 1922 and later in 1925 ये amend हुआ था to formalize the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee's control over the Gurdwaras. Next, who was elected the president of the Theosophical Society in 1907? So it was Annie Besant. Although एक बात ध्यान रखना, Theosophical Society was not founded by Annie Besant, it was founded by Madam Blavatsky, ठीक है, and T.S. Alcott. इन दोनों ने A and C ऑप्शंस जो है यहाँ पे, they both founded the Theosophical Society. Although Annie Besant ने क्या किया था, he shifted the headquarters to Adyar. Adyar is in Madhya Pradesh, Madras. Okay, Annie Besant shifted the headquarters. Now, what age did Lord Lytton reduce the Indian Civil Services eligibility to in 1876? So 19 years age कर दिया था Lord Lytton ने, जिसके अगेंस्ट काफ़ी प्रोटेस्ट भी हुआ था. Next is which oppressive act was passed by Lytton in 1878 targeting Indian press? So this was the Vernacular Press Act. Now, Vernacular Press Act, it aimed to curb the Indian language newspaper from criticizing the government. Although this Vernacular Press Act was revoked in the year 1881 by Lord Ripon. ठीक है. एंड यहाँ पे एक और पॉइंट ध्यान रखना, एक टर्म है दैट इज लिबरेटर ऑफ प्रेस, मॉडर्न प्रेस. ये किसको बोला जाता है? सो चार्ल्स मेटकैल्फ को बोला जाता है लिबरेटर ऑफ प्रेस. नेक्स्ट है विच 1878 एक्ट restricted Indians from possessing arms? So it is the Arms Act. It was very racially discriminatory and it exempted Europeans from its provisions. That is why सिर्फ इंडियंस के अगेंस्ट पे ये एक्ट था. नेक्स्ट है हमारा Ripon's attempt to pass which liberal bill was opposed by Europeans? So it was the Ilbert bill. इसमें क्या था कि the Indian judges, जो इंडियन जजेस होते थे कोर्ट में, they were allowed to try, उनको ट्रायल करने का अलाउ किया गया था टू यूरोपियन सब्जेक्ट्स. सो यूरोपियन को लगता था कि हम वाइट्स हैं एंड वी आर वेरी कल्चरली एंड बाय कलर वी आर वेरी मच हायर देन दैट, वो उनकी थिंकिंग थी. तो वो कहते थे कि हम इंडियन जजेस से हम अपना ट्रायल नहीं कंडक्ट करवाएंगे. ओके, सो एल्बर्ट बिल क्या था कि इट अलाउड द इंडियन जजेस टू ट्राई यूरोपियंस विच कॉज्ड अ वेरी मैसिव बैकलैश. Next, which association was founded by associates of Ram Mohan Roy in 1836? It was the Bang Bhasha Prasasika Sabha. Now, it was an early Bengali forum that promoted local languages and reforms. Next, Dadobhai Naroji founded which London-based association in 1866? It was the East India Association. So, East India Association, ध्यान में रखना, was founded by Dadobhai Naroji in the year 1866. ठीक है. एम क्या था इसका? एम था इट क्रिएटेड अ लॉबी फॉर द ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट टू वाउच फॉर द इंडियन राइट्स. नेक्स्ट है द इंडियन एसोसिएशन ऑफ कलकत्ता वॉज लेड बाई, सो इट वॉज लेड बाई सुरेंद्र नाथ बनर्जी एंड आनंद मोहन बोस. एंड दिस इंडियन एसोसिएशन ऑफ कलकत्ता, इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द प्रीकर्सर ऑफ इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस. ओके, इट वॉज फॉर्म्ड इन द ईयर 1876. इट प्रोटेस्टेड द ICS, मतलब जो लॉर्ड लिटन ने 19 ईयर्स का एज कर दिया था फॉर द इंडियन सिविल सर्विसेज इन द ईयर 1878. उसमें रिडक्शन क्यों किया गया, इसके अगेंस्ट प्रोटेस्ट था. एंड इट ऑल्सो होस्टेड द फर्स्ट ऑल इंडिया कॉन्फ्रेंस इन 1883. नेक्स्ट इज विच बॉम्बे बेस्ड एसोसिएशन वॉज फॉर्म्ड बाई मेहता एंड बदरुद्दीन तैयब जी? इट वॉज द बॉम्बे प्रेसिडेंसी एसोसिएशन. Okay, now Bombay Presidency Association established in 1885 to promote moderate nationalist ideas. Now, which pre-Congress campaign opposed plantation labor conditions? So this was the campaigns against the Inland Immigration Act, जिसमें कि क्या था, highlighted exploitative labor laws harming the Indian workers. Which campaign aimed to elect a pro-India party in Britain? Which campaign aimed to elect a pro-India party in Britain? So it was the British electoral campaign. It was a strategic move to influence the British parliamentary support. Now, who founded the Indian National Congress in 1885? It was A.O. Hume, and the first session of the Indian National Congress was at Bombay Gokuldas Tejpal Sanskrit College. Now, who presided over the first Congress session? It was W.C. Banerjee who presided over the session, and 72 delegates ने participate किया था इसमें. Which woman addressed the early Congress session? It was Kadambini Ganguly. He was the first woman graduate of Calcutta University, and it also showed the symbol of progress. So ये बहुत important question हो जाता है कि first woman कौन थी address करने वाली Indian National Congress को? So it was Kadambini Ganguly. Which theory viewed INC as a tool to suppress uprising? It was the safety valve theory. ठीक है, स्वदेशी सेफ्टी वेल्व थ्योरी वॉज propounded, जिसमें ये कहा गया था कि एक पाइप की तरह है इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस लोगों का डिसेंट निकालने के लिए. Who interpreted Hume's roles as the role of a lightning conductor? It was बिपिन चंद्रा. ठीक है, ही इज एन हिस्टोरियन. बट लाइटनिंग कंडक्टर थ्योरी ये किसने दी थी? ये गोपाल कृष्ण गोखले जी ने दी थी. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. विच वॉज नॉट द अर्ली एम्स ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस? कौन सा इसमें से एम नहीं था? नेशनलिस्ट वर्कर यूनाइट करना, पॉलिटिसाइजिंग द मासेस ये भी एम था, प्रेजेंटिंग द डिमांड्स टू गवर्नमेंट ये भी था. तो एम क्या नहीं था? प्रमोटिंग हिंदू रिवाइवलिज्म. दिस वॉज द वर्क ऑफ थियोसॉफिकल सोसाइटी. ठीक है, वो स्टॉन्च हिंदुइज्म के रिवाइवल की बात करते थे. इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस का कोई रिलीजियस रिवाइवल से कोई इसका लेना देना नहीं था. सो आई होप क्लियर हो गया होगा. ना जो आईएनसी का भी टेन्योर है ना 1885 से अगर मैं बात करूँ 1905 की, तो दिस इज़ वेरी मच नोन एज द मॉडरेट फेज. वाई इट इज़ नोन एज द मॉडरेट फेज? बिकॉज द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस इट प्रोपगेटेड द पॉलिसी ऑफ 3 Ps. मतलब कि प्रेयर करना, पिटिशन करना एंड प्रोटेस्ट. प्रेयर, पिटिशन एंड प्रोटेस्ट, ये 3 मेथड्स थे विच वॉज यूज बाय द मॉडरेट लीडर्स. एंड दैट इज़ वाई ये मॉडरेट लीडर्स ने लीड किया था 1906 का स्वदेशी मूवमेंट. 1906 में स्वदेशी मूवमेंट हुआ था अगेंस्ट द पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल. एंड दैट इज़ व्हेन जब एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लीडर्स थे कुछ सच एज लाला लाजपत राय एंड बाल गंगाधर तिलक, they wanted to expand the Swadeshi movement to all of India, but moderates ने बोला था कि the Indians are not, the masses is not ready yet for a nationwide movement, so we should curtail this movement to a smaller part only. And that is when 1906 में जब नहीं चले एक्सट्रीमिस्ट की, 1907 में सूरत सेशन के टाइम पे सूरत स्प्लिट हुआ. ये सूरत स्प्लिट में क्या था कि मॉडरेट सेपरेट हो गए एक्सट्रीमिस्ट से, एंड ये दोनों ने फिर अलग से अपनी वेज को कंडक्ट किया टू अटेन द इंडिपेंडेंस. बट ये ज़्यादा टाइम तक अकेले नहीं रहे. 1916 में अगेन लखनऊ सेशन में क्या हुआ कि मॉडरेट्स प्लस एक्सट्रीमिस्ट ये दोनों एक साथ वापस से आ गए. एंड जो दूसरा सिग्निफिकेंट डेवलपमेंट था, इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस प्लस मुस्लिम लीग, वो दोनों भी साथ में आ गए. ठीक है, सो ये कुछ टाइमलाइन रही है, ऐसे चीज़ें हुई हैं. ठीक है, समझ आ गया होगा. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. हु वेयर द आर्किटेक्ट्स ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस सेशन बिफोर आईएनसी? सो एज आई टोल्ड यू, जो हमारा इंडियन नेशनल एसोसिएशन था इट वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड बाय सुरेंद्र नाथ बनर्जी एंड आनंद मोहन बोस. सो ये जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी ना, दिस वाज द प्रीकर्सर ऑफ द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस. बस वही यहाँ पे पूछा है. ठीक है, दे हेल्ड सेशन इन 1883 1885 टू प्रमोट पैन इंडिया नेशनलिस्ट डायलॉग. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट. Which newspaper was the organ of Indian National Congress British Committee in London? It was the India newspaper. It was established in the year 1899 to influence the British public opinion. Now, what did the drain theory propose? Now, drain of wealth theory, it was given by Dadabhai Naroji. It was given by R.C. Dutt. ठीक है, इनका ये कहना था कि इंडिया से जो वेल्थ है वो ट्रांसफ़र की जा रही है ब्रिटेन को. उस टाइम पे ब्रिटेन का जो मेन रूल था इंडिया में, इट वाज लेड बाय द सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट. तो सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट्स बहुत डिफरेंट वे में एक्सपेंडिचर करते थे, and this income was regularly drained from India to Britain in order to extract income. ठीक है, एंड इंडिया से जो पैसा एक्सट्रैक्ट किया जाता था इट वाज नॉट एट ऑल यूज फॉर द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ आवर ओन कंट्री. सो दिस वाज द ड्रेन ऑफ वेल्थ थ्योरी. ठीक है, इट वाज द मेनली द ट्रांसफर ऑफ वेल्थ टू ब्रिटेन. It explained the economic exploitation of India under British rule. Now, Dadabhai Naoroji's economic critique highlighted British fiscal exploitation. ठीक है, अभी बता दिया मैंने. नेक्स्ट है द मॉडरेट स्लोगन नो टैक्सेशन विदाउट रिप्रेजेंटेशन. इट डिमांडेड पार्टिसिपेशन इन लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल. अब मॉडरेट्स का कहना था कि आप हमसे टैक्स लेते हो और वो टैक्स वापस से आप ब्रिटेन लेके जाते हो एंड वहाँ पे होम चार्जेस के नाम पे उसको स्पेंड करते हो. तो हम टैक्स तब तक नहीं देंगे जब तक हमें रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं मिलेगा हमारे ही लेजिस्लेटिव काउंसिल्स में. ठीक है, सो दिस वाज द स्लोगन गिवन बाय मॉडरेट्स. ठीक है, समझ आ गया. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. विच फॉरेन पॉलिसी एक्ट वॉज क्रिटिसाइज बाय द मॉडरेट्स. इट वॉज द अफगान एडवेंचर. सो लॉर्ड लिटन की पॉलिसी थी. ठीक है, इट बर्डन इंडियन ट्रेजरी फॉर द ब्रिटिश इंपीरियल गोल. अब एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट में जाने का कोई मतलब नहीं है, बस ये समझ लो कि लिटन की पॉलिसी टुवर्ड्स अफगानिस्तान जो थी ये फॉरेन पॉलिसी इट वाज वेरी मच अपोज्ड बाय द मॉडरेट लीडर्स. द मॉडरेट्स डिमांडेड द सेपरेशन ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशियरी. आज के डेट में इफ़ यू हैव स्टडीड द पॉलिटी पार्ट यू विल नो that the separation of executive from judiciary it is mentioned under article 50 जो कि आता है हमारा डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ द स्टेट पॉलिसी. ठीक है, अंडर पार्ट 4. ओके, उस टाइम पे मॉडरेट्स ने ये डिमांड की थी कि एग्जीक्यूटिव और जुडिशियरी को सेपरेट होना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट इज हु डिस्क्राइब कांग्रेस एज अ फैक्ट्री ऑफ सेडिशन. ये जो कोट है दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, एंड इट वॉज गिवन बाय लॉर्ड डफरिन. नाउ डफरिन के रिगार्डिंग एक पॉइंट आप याद रखना, इट वॉज ड्यूरिंग द लॉर्ड डफरिन ओनली व्हेन इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस वॉज फाउंडेड. नाउ विच लिमिटेशन मार्क्स द मॉडरेट फेज. ठीक है, वायलेंट एजिटेशन, रिलीजियस रिवाइवलिज्म, मास मोबिलाइजेशन एंड नैरो सोशल बेस. सो नैरो सोशल बेस बिकॉज द मॉडरेट्स वेयर मोस्ट ऑफ द एडुकेटेड हाइयर मिडिल क्लास पीपल. सो उनका जो बेस था ना, सोशल बेस था, दैट वाज वेरी नैरो. दे लार्जली रिलाइड ऑन एडुकेटेड अर्बन क्लासेस एंड दे अवॉइडेड मास पॉलिटिक्स. अभी इन द एक्सप्लेनेशन पार्ट मैंने आपको बताया था ना सूरत का स्प्लिट क्यों हुआ था. इसीलिए हुआ था क्योंकि उनको ये लगता था कि द मासेस इज नॉट येट रेडी फॉर अ नेशन वाइड मूवमेंट. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट है विच लॉ ऑफ 1904 curtailed प्रेस फ्रीडम ड्यूरिंग कर्जन्स रूल्स. इट वॉज द ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट्स एक्ट. अब ये ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट एक्ट किसके टाइम पे आया, तो लॉर्ड कर्जन के टाइम आया. इसके टाइम पे पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल भी था, ये भी आप ध्यान में रखना. अब ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट एक्ट इट वॉज डिजाइन टू प्रिवेंट लीक ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन एंड स्टिफल डिसेंट थ्रू द पब्लिकेशन. ओके, नेक्स्ट देखते हैं. What phrase did extremists use to criticize the moderate methods? It was the 3 P's. बताया मैंने आपको, prayer, petition and protest. They called it a political medicancy that is very weak, ineffective negotiation tactics. I hope कि आपको समझ में आ रहा होगा ये. Next is which event triggered the launch of the Swadeshi movement? It was the partition of Bengal in the year 1905 that triggered it. ठीक है, बॉयकॉट रेजोल्यूशन अगस्त 7, 1905 को पास हुआ था. हु कंपोज द अमार सोनार बांग्ला ड्यूरिंग द एंटी पार्टीशन मूवमेंट. इट वॉज रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर. नाउ लेटर इट बिकेम द नेशनल एंथम ऑफ द प्रेजेंट डे बांग्लादेश. वॉट वॉज डिक्लेयर्ड एट 1906 कांग्रेस सेशन लेड बाय दादाभाई नौरोजी. नाउ स्वराज एज अ गोल. अब देखो दो इंपॉर्टेंट बातें हैं यहाँ पे. ठीक है, एक तो है पूर्ण स्वराज, एक है पूर्ण स्वराज एंड द सेकेंड वन इज स्वराज. Now Swaraj as a goal of Congress was declared for the first time in the year 1906. ठीक है, and Purna Swaraj as a goal was declared in the year 1929 लाहौर सेशन. ठीक है, 1906 का जो सेशन था ये कैलकटा का सेशन था. ये दोनों बातें याद रखना. And 1906 के सेशन में the president was दादा भाई नौरोजी, whereas हमारा 1929 का जो सेशन था इसमें जो लीडर थे वो थे, प्रेसिडेंट थे वो थे जवाहरलाल नेहरू। नेक्स्ट इज हु फॉर्म द स्वदेशी स्टीम नेविगेशन कंपनी? इट वॉज V.O. Chidambaram Pillai. This was a symbolic event of economic self-reliance in Tamil Nadu. Next, which Tamil poet wrote Sudesh Geetam to inspire Swadeshi? This is important. ठीक है, किन्होंने लिखा था? It was Subramanyam Bharati that who wrote the Sudesh Geetam to inspire the Swadeshis. Next है, what was the role of Swadeshi Samitis? It was mass mobilization and volunteer corps. The Samitis like Swadesh Bandabab in Barisal, that is in Bengal, rallied the public support. Now, what was the Congress stance in the 1905 session under Gokhale? The demand was for the condemnation of the partition and support for the Swadeshi. Okay. Now, ये 1905 का सेशन कहाँ पे हुआ था ये आप मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में बताओगे। जो भी अभी तक यहाँ पे वीडियो देख रहा है काइंडली मुझे ये बताना कि ये सेशन कहाँ पे हुआ था। लेट्स सी कि आपने कितना रिवाइज किया। व्हाट वाज द आउटकम ऑफ द एनलमेंट ऑफ बंगाल पार्टीशन? अब एनलमेंट हुआ था बंगाल का, ठीक है, अभी सॉरी पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल हुआ 1905 में। अब ब्रिटिशर्स का ये कहना था कि इट इज़ मेड फॉर एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव हमारे कन्वीनियंस के लिए, बट द रियल रीज़न वॉज कि रिवोल्यूशनरी एक्टिविटीज़ वेयर ऑन वेरी मच राइज। ठीक है, बंगाल में इनोवेशन एंड रिवोल्यूशन रेनेसांस से रिलेटेड बहुत ज़्यादा हमने देखा है कि द लीडर्स वेयर देयर, सो दे वांटेड टू डिस्टर्ब दिस मूवमेंट विच वाज अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिशर्स। मेन पर्पस उनका वही था, बट ऑफिशियली जो उन्होंने बोला था वो बोला था कि हम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कन्वीनियंस के लिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वी कैन नॉट कंट्रोल सच अ लार्ज एरिया। सो ऑब्वियसली मुस्लिम्स ने उस टाइम पे सपोर्ट नहीं किया था बिकॉज दे वेर हैप्पी बाय द क्रिएशन ऑफ बाय द पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल। सो अल्टीमेटली जब वो एनल हुआ था, एनल कब हुआ था? 1911 में। ठीक है, 1911 में एनल कर दिया गया था। सो ऑब्वियसली द मुस्लिम एलाइट वॉज शॉक्ड बिकॉज इट वॉज कैंसल्ड। नेक्स्ट है विच 1904 एक्ट सप्रेस द प्रेस फ्रीडम अंडर कर्जन? इट वॉज द इंडियन ऑफिशियल सीक्रेट्स एक्ट which we have seen. It restricted the publication of sensitive information and it curbed dissent. What slogan did extremists use to criticize moderate methods? It was the political mendicancy. This was the they rejected the 3 P's, that is prayer, petition and protest, as ineffective. When did Congress split between moderates and the extremists? This was in 1907. सूरत में ये सेशन हुआ था, ठीक है, फॉर्मल स्प्लिट यहीं पे हुआ था। हु प्रेसाइडेड ओवर द 1905 कांग्रेस सेशन इन बनारस? अभी हमने देखा था, अभी मैंने आपको कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखने को बोला था बट यहाँ पे तो उन्होंने दे ही दिया। सो दिस वाज डन बाय गोखले। ओके, नेक्स्ट देखते हैं। नेक्स्ट इज विच एक्ट अलाउड द अरेस्ट फॉर पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द सेडिशियस मीटिंग्स? सो दिस वाज ऑब्वियसली द सेडिशियस मीटिंग्स एक्ट. Now, it was enforced in the year 1907 to curb political gatherings and revolutionary speeches. Next is who led the Shimla disputation seeking separate Muslim electorate? And this is important. Now, this Shimla deputation was led by Aga Khan. Now, in the year 1906, the delegation shaped the communal politics and it became the streamline thing which ultimately led to the partition of India. Now, in 1909, reforms introduced, which reforms introduced the separate electorate? Now, these were the Indian Council Act. Now, this was also known as the Morley-Minto reforms. This is also known as the Morley-Minto reforms. Okay, now what happened in this was the separate electorate was provided. Okay. Next is who was the first Indian member of the Viceroy's Executive Council? This is Satyendra Sinha, and this is important. Now, Satyendra Sinha was appointed in the year 1909 under the new reform system. Next, which group was given the over-representation in the 1909 reforms? As I told you that the separate electorate was provided to Muslims. So, obviously, the Muslims were given the higher representation. How did Lord Morley view parliamentary aspirations in India? Now, Lord Morley believed that I oppose any part to the parliament. It means that he did not wanted to give representation to the Indians in the parliament. Okay. Now he stated that he'd avoid in the form that enabled a parliamentary system. Now this statement was given by Lord Morley. Which revolutionary group was founded by Prathama Mitra in Calcutta? Now this was the Anushilan Samiti. Now in 1902, the Anushilan Samiti was established in Bengal and it became the hub for the radical activism. Who were tried for the Alipur bomb conspiracy case of 1908? Now this question is important. Now for this Alipur bomb conspiracy case, Aurobindo Ghosh and Barindra Ghosh, both of them were tried. The Maniktala conspiracy exposed a network of underground revolutionaries, and Aurobindo and Barindra Ghosh, they both were held guilty. Who established the Abhinav Bharat Society in Maharashtra? Now this was established by V.D. Savarkar. Okay. Now it was inspired by the Mazzini's Young Italy and it merged with Mitra Mela in 1904. Now just to tell you, Mitra Mela was also the organization of V.D. Savarkar. So ये आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए. Where was the Ghadar Party founded in the year 1913? It was founded in San Francisco and it became the epicenter of the anti-colonial activities on the US West Coast. Now, which 1915 law was used to suppress the Ghadar movement? It was the Defense of India Act, and this is an important question. Now, Ghadar movement is related to 1913 and Ghadar movement से related एक और incident है which is popularly known as Komagata Maru incident. ओके सो ये भी आपको ध्यान में रखना है. नाउ हु लेड द बर्लिन कमेटी फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस इन 1915? नाउ इट वाज लेड बाय वीरेंद्र नाथ चट्टोपाध्याय along with Bhupendra Nath Dutt and Lala Hardayal. He coordinated the foreign missions and led the Berlin Committee for Indian Independence in 1915. Now, the 1915 mutiny in Singapore was led by the soldiers from which battalion? Now, this is a pretty difficult question, but just for your information, the 1915 mutiny में 5th Light Infantry and 36th 6th Battalion, both of them which was led by Chishti Khan and Daud Khan, these led the rebellion. Who established the Indian Home Rule League in April 1916 covering Maharashtra and Berar? Now, Maharashtra and Berar, the central provinces, ठीक है, ये सारे के सारे एरिया में तिलक लीग वॉज देयर. ऑल्सो 2 होम रूल लीग बनी थी इन 1916. वन वॉज ऑफ तिलक, द अदर वन वॉज ऑफ एनी बेसेंट. नाउ तिलक वॉज द लीग ऑफ तिलक वॉज लार्जर इन साइज एंड इट वॉज confined to Maharashtra, Berar, central provinces, but Bombay was not under Tilak's league. Okay, Bombay was under the Annie Besant's league. Next है, who presided over the Lucknow Congress session in 1916? Now I have already told you 1916 में क्या हुआ था. 1916 में moderates वापस से extremists के साथ वापस आ गए थे and also Congress came up with Muslim League. So ये जो था it was led by अंबिका चरण मजूमदार. लखनऊ सेशन was led by AC मजूमदार. क्लियर है. नेक्स्ट देखते हैं, विच डेवलपमेंट लेड टू अ शिफ्ट इन मुस्लिम लीग स्टैंड टुवर्ड्स कांग्रेस इन 1916? नाउ दिस वाज द annulment of Bengal's partition. The Muslim elite felt betrayed after supporting the partition in 1905 because 1911 में लॉर्ड हार्डिंग के टाइम पे द partition of Bengal was annulled. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज विच स्लोगन वॉज स्प्रेड बाय एनी बेसेंट थ्रू her paper New India? Now it is self government after the war. Also Annie Besant के regarding एक तो था न्यू इंडिया, दूसरा था कॉमनवेल्थ. बोथ ऑफ these newspapers or journals were written by Annie Besant. What was the outcome resulted from the Lucknow Pact of 1916? So the Congress demands presented jointly by Congress and Muslim League. As I have told you, Congress and Muslim League came together after the Lucknow Pact. What was one of the joint demands in the Lucknow Pact? So half of the Executive Council to be the Indian members. This was one of the facts. What did Montagu August 1917 statement promise? It promised the progressive realization of responsible government. It aimed for gradual Indian participation while retaining the imperial control. Next, what major objection did Indian leaders raise to the Montagu 1917 declaration? It was lack of specific time frame for reforms. Now, by the Montagu reforms, no time frame was given as to when these reforms would be implemented. That is why specific time frame नहीं था. What economic factor contributed to the national resurgence after the World War One? So it was obviously industrial में recession था, high prices था, also जो food crops थे, their availability was highly reduced because these food and fodder was sent to the war countries. Next is, which act introduced diarchy at the provincial level? It was the Government of India Act 1919. Okay, now Montego claims for reforms divided the subjects into reserved and the transferred subject. What major ideological influence encouraged the national movement globally after 1917? It was the Russian Revolution. Now Russian Revolution 1917 में हुई थी, and it was also known as the Bolshevik Revolution, and it comprised of promoting ideas of self-determination and anti-imperialism. Next है, what methods did Gandhi first use during the South African campaign? Now this was passive resistance or satyagraha was used for the first time. Now this satyagraha was born from the defiance against the unjust registration laws in the year 1906. Next is, what key principle defines Gandhi's ideas of satyagraha? It is truth, non-violence and self-suffering. What system was abolished after the Champaran Satyagraha? Now this was the system of Teen Katiya system, in which the peasants were forced to grow indigo on tree by 20th of their land under their exploitative system. Which 1918 event marked the first hunger strike? Now this was the Ahmedabad mill strike, was the first hunger strike of Gandhi. Next is, what triggered the Kheda Satyagraha in 1918? So it was the famine and the tax demands. Which act allowed the detention without trial and suspended the civil liberties? It was the Rowlatt Act. Okay, and it was also known as the Anarchical and the Revolutionary Crimes Act. Next is, on which date was the Rowlatt Satyagraha launched? Now it was launched on 6th April 1919. Now the year is important, exam में ये आ सकता है. And it was Gandhi's first nationwide mass strike. Who were arrested on April 9, 1919, sparking an unrest in Amritsar? Now the protesters were protesting against the unlawful arrest of their leaders Saifuddin Kichliu and Dr. Satyapal, and against those only they were gathered in Jallianwala Bagh when General O'Dwyer fired and killed them all. Next is, how many bullets did Dyer troop fire during the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? It is 1615 rounds were fired. Who described Jallianwala Bagh massacre as a decisive movement of alienation? It was A.P.J. Taylor. He is a British historian who proposed this. Which act shielded Dyer and other officers from prosecution? It was the Indemnity Act. This is important. This can be asked. Okay. Now this Indemnity Act, Motilal Nehru called it a whitewashing bill. Who led the Congress non-official inquiry into the Amritsar massacre? It was the Indian National Congress. Now the Congress organized its own probe challenging the Hunter Committee's finding. Next is, which event exposed British brutality post World War I and fueled mass resentment? It was the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, which happened on April 13th, 1919. April 13, 1999 को ये हुआ था. Who led the Khilafat Committee and saw it as a basis for united non-cooperation? It was Mahatma Gandhi. Next is, what treaty signed in May 1920 dismembered Turkey, intensifying Khilafat demand? This was the Treaty of Severs. Now this is an important because exam में आ सकता है Treaty of Severs के बारे में. Now it ended the Turkish control over Islamic holy places, sparkling the Muslim outrage. Next is, which session of Congress approved the non-cooperation program in September 1920? It was the Calcutta Special Session. Okay. Now, what major organizational changes was made at the Nagpur Congress session of 1920? So, Congress formation of Congress Working Committee. This was a major establishment. What educational institution was led by Subhash Chandra Bose during the movement? Now, the National College of Calcutta. Subhash Chandra Bose, he served as a principal, promoting nationalist education and values in that time. Which region saw the tea plantation and railway strike during the movement? Assam region. Okay. Next is, which revolt occurred in Malabar during the non-cooperation movement? It was the Mopla revolt. Now, which significant protest greeted the Prince of Wales in 1921? It was the strike and mass demonstration. What role did women play during the non-cooperation movement? They donated their ornaments for the Tilak Fund, and over 1 crore rupees was collected in the Tilak Fund. What was Gandhi's ultimatum before threatening the civil disobedience from Bardoli? It was the end of press control and release of political prisoners. It was issued on February 1st, 1922, as pressure was mounted on the colonial authorities. What triggered Gandhi's decision to withdraw the movement in 1922? It was the Chauri Chaura violence that triggered him to do so. Okay. Now, from the question number 308, we will do in the next session. Now 400 more questions are left, which we are going to cover in a very significant speed. So thank you for watching this video. Keep studying. Please do like this video and comment करके बताना आपको वीडियो कैसी लगी. Till then, thank you and keep studying.